Imagine if you could leverage up your exposure to Luna with zero liquidation risk. Now also imagine what if you could double, triple, quadruple the staking yield that you receive from Luna. Now even imagine this. What if you simply wanted right now to only receive the staking rewards from Luna and have zero exposure to the price volatility of Luna while still pocketing those staking rewards? Well, all of that is possible with this brand new project coming out on Terra known as Prism. Welcome to Crypto Saver. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is not an easy video to make because Prism is not yet out. And because of that, we do not have a dashboard to go on. So in preparation for this video, the best that I could have done to prepare to give you the information about Prism, to break it down for you, I had to read the lit paper. I went through a bunch of different documentations that were being shared on Twitter. I even reached out and I spoke directly to some of the members that represent Prism to get an idea of how things are really going to work. Now, overall, it's fairly complicated. If you've seen some messages here or there about Prism, you've realized, wow, that is a bit hard to grasp. Well, I'm going to try to break it down as well as I can during the course of this video so that you get it perfectly. And the way that we're going to do it, we're going to go through the whole flow process. So on the day that Prism finally goes live with their refraction process, which is basically what everyone is so enthusiastic about, what would you expect, or how would you go through the flow process? And that's exactly what we're going to be doing right now. So to begin, to get started on Prism, you are going to need Luna. Now imagine you have one single Luna. What you're going to do from there, you're going to deposit your one Luna into Prism. And Prism will take that Luna and they will stake it for you. Once that's done, which happens instantly, you will receive yLuna in return. 1 yLuna. Think about this similar to if you deposit Luna onto Anchor, you receive bLuna in return, right? So just compare the two against each other there. But here's where the magic comes in. Here is where we can take advantage of this new feature known as refracting. Once we have that yLuna, we can refract it. When we refract it, we now receive pLuna and yLuna. So what do those represent and why do we care? The idea behind Prism is that they want to be able to separate the underlying token from its yield. So when it comes to Luna, the underlying token is obviously Luna, right? And that is being represented by pLuna. So if you are holding the pLuna token in your wallet, that pLuna token will be sensitive to the price of Luna. So if Luna would go up $1, your pLuna, if you own just one pLuna, your pLuna would also go up $1. So pLuna is sensitive to the price of Luna. yLuna, on the other hand, represents the yield side of Luna, the one that you go in and you stake. Right now, as I make this video, I believe that the total staking rewards for Luna are around 9% or so. You can take that yLuna and you can stake it directly with Prism, and it'll be staking to the typical validators that we all know of. And you would actually receive your typical staking Luna rewards, by the way. It's not you're going to receive Prism tokens or something along those lines. It's not going to be the case. So once you have that pLuna and your yLuna, it's first important to understand how much do you receive of each of them, right? So the general formula, and they have a simple formula out there, is that 1 yLuna, so 1 collateralized Luna, equals 1 pLuna plus 1 yLuna. Okay? Now what can change here is the value of those two sides, of yLuna and pLuna. There will be times when yLuna could be worth more of the whole yLuna pie, and other times yLuna might be worth less of that pie. An easy way to think about this, we know that when it comes to staking rewards, it's based upon the block activity that occurs within Terra. So when people are making transactions, they're paying fees, those are being accrued, those fees, and they're being paid out to Luna stakers. Just because Luna goes up in value does not mean that the fees collected go up in value. That doesn't happen. The only way for the fees to go up, well, for there to be more fees paid out in a single day, that can only happen if there's more block activity occurring within Terra. So if the APR right now for staking Luna is at 9%, and if Luna just overnight went up, let's say Luna is trading at $100 right now, if Luna went up from 100 to 200, that APR would actually be cut in half instantly, right? It would go from 9% down to 4.5%, because the block rewards that are being collected did not really double at all, right? So in that case, if you were refracting your yLuna in those moments, well, the day after, let's say, you would notice that your yLuna is now worth considerably a small portion of your pLuna. So now that we briefly kind of better understood of how the split between pLuna and yLuna can occur, and by the way, it's not just if that yield is kind of going up or down based on the block activity, it could also be based upon how much demand there is for yLuna altogether, because there's going to be pools out there of pLuna and yLuna you could trade with directly. And if there's a lot of people, a lot of demand for yLuna, that could also raise the value of yLuna against pLuna. So it is incredibly difficult right now to look and tell you that, hey, listen, I mean, I have some notes here that let's say if Luna is at $100, well, let's say our yLuna is $100, and if you would refract it into pLuna and yLuna, we can, let's say, assume that your one pLuna would be worth $80 and your one yLuna would be worth $20. Again, it's an assumption we can make. There's really nothing to really hinge on right now until we know when things open up. But if there's a lot of demand for yLuna, once Prism is out, for example, we might see that if the value of yLuna is greater, then it would be maybe that pLuna would be, let's say, $70 and yLuna could be $30. Again, it all comes down to just simply what the staking rewards are. And on top of that, well, the staking rewards is a percentage of the whole value of Luna. And on top of that, a demand for yLuna on the platform. That will kind of give us an idea of what that would look like. Now, what's cool about this is that once you've refracted and you have your pLuna and you have your yLuna, let's say that right now you are feeling uneasy about the price of Luna. You believe that Luna will start dumping. Now, right now, if that was the case, you would have to basically sell your Luna right away. And what makes it even more difficult is that I know a lot of us love to stake our Luna, and we love to be able to get those airdrops, we love to be able to collect those block rewards and accrue more Luna from that, but we give up the right of it being liquid, right? It's not liquid at all. Well, when we refract it and we have the pLuna and we have the yLuna, it's separated now. We can take the yLuna and we can stake that, right? And the yLuna is not going to be sensitive to the price of Luna, right? If Luna dumps in price 50%, your yLuna wouldn't go down in value 50%. If anything, it might actually rise up in value because now the staking rewards at that much of a higher percentage, right? The APRs might go from 9% to, say, 20% or something, right? So more people will be even more enthusiastic about getting their hands on yLuna to be able to stake it relative to the price of Luna. So we can take our yLuna, we can stake it. We have our pLuna. If we feel uneasy about the price of Luna, we can simply swap out of our pLuna position within one of the liquidity pools. Now, granted, you're going to take a little bit of a discount. Obviously, whenever you work within these liquidity pools, you got to imagine that you will be taking a discount if you decide to swap out of your pLuna into UST or your pLuna, let's say, maybe into Luna, whatever it might be. But you can do so. So the price side of Luna, that is completely liquid. You could just completely trade out of it if you want to do so. And you could simply have that yLuna within your account, which is simply earning the staking rewards. And this is, again, amazing. Amazing that, it's obviously an ingenious idea of being able to separate the two, because it essentially does create a liquid form of Luna where you can continue enjoying those staking rewards without having risk to the actual underlying moving in price. Now, on the flip side, if you are very bullish on Luna in this very moment, you sort of come down in price severely, you can take your yLuna and you can swap it out for pLuna. And now all of a sudden you have more exposure to the price of Luna than you had when you had a single Luna. Now that might, again, these might sound a little confusing, so we're going to break it down with the numbers now. And I'm also going to give credit to Jimmy. I'll throw up his Twitter page right now. He's one of the representatives for Prism, and he kind of helped explain things out for me last night. And this is an example that he used. So to set up the parameters, let's imagine Luna is at 100. One pLuna is worth 80, and one yLuna is worth 20. Now imagine we are bullish right now, and we want to have more exposure to Luna. So what we can do, we can take our one yLuna and swap it out for one. Well, we could swap it for more pLuna, right? Now, as we can see, if one is worth 80 and the other one is worth 20, when we take our yLuna, we would end up getting 0.25 pLuna, right? Because we can tell by the ratio, right, that pLuna is trading at a 4 times higher than yLuna, because one yLuna is 20 and one pLuna is worth 80, so that's 4 times the difference, right? So we end up gaining 0.25 pLuna. So now we have 1.25 pLuna and we have 0 yLuna. Now imagine 10 days later, Luna goes up to $200, right? It doubles in price, right? What we just looked at, that was day one, Luna was trading at 100. Now imagine 10 days later, trades double. What do we have? What do our gains look like? Well, we know that we hold 1.25 pLuna. And we know that originally when we began this whole thing, our 1 pLuna is worth 80. But Luna now went up $100 in price. So our 1 pLuna also went up $100 in price. So that 1 pLuna went from $80 to $180. But we also took our yLuna, we swapped it for more pLuna to get 25% more pLuna. So we don't actually have 1 pLuna, we have 1.25 pLuna. And if we do the math, if we take 180 multiplied by 1.25, we end up getting 225. And that would be our current, I guess, position within Luna, right? So had we just held on to our Luna position within our wallet, we just had 1 Luna sitting there, our 1 Luna would be worth $200. But because we went through Prism and because we refracted our cLuna into pLuna and yLuna, and because we took our yLuna and we swapped it out for more pLuna to gain more exposure to Luna, and now that Luna has gone up in price, instead of us being up just $100, we are up $125. And we were able to leverage up on Luna without any risk of liquidation, because we're simply selling out the yield part of the token and buying more of the underlying token itself on Prism. At the same time, let's take this exact example again, right? 1 pLuna, $80, 1 yLuna, $20. What if we take that pLuna and we swap it for more yLuna? Well, we know that pLuna is trades 4 times more than the yLuna site does. So when we do flip it over, we would end up gaining 4 yLuna tokens. So once we add that to our original yLuna token, now we have 5 yLuna tokens. And just imagine that the yield on each yLuna token is 10%. So now all of a sudden, with all of our yLuna tokens combined, 5 of them combined, 5 times 10 is 50%, and we stake all 5 of those yLuna tokens, well, all of a sudden, we're now earning a 50% staking rewards, all from essentially refracting 1 Luna to begin with. Now again, all these examples work in a vacuum because a lot of it will depend on where's their demand. What if everyone really wants to kind of swap things out for yLuna? Because if they do so, if people come on and they swap their pLuna for more yLuna, that will not make it that, pLuna is worth 4 times more than yLuna. What if they're worth 50-50 to each other, right? Then you're kind of leveraging less of it. And the general idea to this is again, if Luna goes up in price, pLuna should be multiples greater than the yLuna side. Because the yLuna will not grow like this in terms of staking rewards. it requires a lot of block activity for it to obviously grow. So if you're looking to, let's say, leverage up your pLuna position, then you would actually be looking for lower prices in Luna, because if the price of Luna goes down, the staking rewards are not really affected by that. So the yLuna side ends up gaining in value, which means that when you swap yLuna for pLuna, you end up gaining more pLuna than you would in this exact example that I just gave to you when it was 80 and 20, right? If Luna trades very high, then you will be able to leverage less of your yLuna for more pLuna. On the flip side, if the price of Luna is very high, then it greatly benefits you to swap your pLuna for more yLuna, because you'd gain many multiples over it, right? So you'd gain a lot of yLuna tokens for just a single pLuna token. And if the price of Luna is trading very low and you decide to swap pLuna for yLuna, you wouldn't gain as many. So keep in mind this little seesaw balance that does occur between the two in different market conditions. Now let's discuss a little bit about what happens when you stake your yLuna into Prism. So typically, as you know, if you stake your Luna, you receive a whole bunch of different stable coins. You receive Luna, you receive airdrops, and so forth. When you stake your yLuna with Prism, what they're going to be doing, they're going to take all your stables, and they're going to convert the stables into Luna. They will then take that and they will refract it into yLuna and pLuna. So when it comes to withdrawing the staking rewards from Prism, you will be withdrawing pLuna and yLuna. Now it's up to you as to what you want to do with them. You can withdraw them and you can swap your pLuna for more yLuna and take the other yLuna, combine them and put them again and stake some more, or I mean, whatever you want to do with them. But they are going to be converting it over. But keep in mind, if you do want to have exposure, again, you want to have exposure to the price of Luna, then you would want to kind of take your yLuna and then swap that out for more pLuna and so forth. So do keep in mind. But they do take your staking rewards and they essentially turn them into pLuna and into yLuna. When it comes to the airdrops will be untouched. So you will still receive airdrops when you're staking your Luna with Prism, and there will simply be a separate withdrawal button for them. Now there are a lot of cool things that are going to be coming out of Prism. Some of them haven't been completely flushed out as to how they're going to look like. But for example, I know one thing that they plan on doing, they plan on giving people an opportunity that if you deposit your UST with Anchor and you receive your AUST, you can use your AUST on Prism to place bids on Luna, like limit orders on Luna within their platform. So imagine you have your money on Anchor, you have your AUST, you go over to Prism, you put a limit order that you want to buy Luna at $40. One day, Luna dumps down to that price. It triggers your limit order. Your AUST gets converted over, probably into, say, UST or something, and then it purchases the Luna at that price. They're actually introducing like limit orders. And more importantly, they're basically giving you a way to not just put out a limit order and essentially have money locked up, not earning any yield. You're actually able to use money that is earning a yield, because AUST is an interest accruing token. So you're still earning a yield on those while you're waiting for that limit order to kick in. So again, really cool things there. And when we look at everything all together, what Prism really is trying to do, because they're refracting the principal token and the yield token from each other, they're giving you the possibility moving forward as they continue to grow, that if, let's say, you are holding ANC tokens, you believe in ANC, you believe ANC will recover, you think it will go up, but you do not care so much about the yield that ANC provides. I'm not sure what the APRs are nowadays, but let's say you don't really care about that yield. Well, you can basically take, let's say in this example, it would be YANC. You can take your YANC and you could swap it out for maybe yLuna. So now you still have exposure to ANC, because you probably have pANC, but you're not receiving any yield on your ANC token because you no longer have YANC. You're actually just essentially increasing your interest that the staking rewards you're earning on the Luna side, because you swapped them out for yLuna. So the way they're kind of doing this is really cool, because it allows you to essentially mix and match what you want. Maybe in some cases you prefer this place's yield, but in some other places you prefer this place's underlying token, and so forth. Let's discuss the next couple weeks. How do they look like for Prism? Well, there's going to be a few stages here. So stage 1, I think it was just delayed to January 1st. And in that stage, what's going to happen is that Prism is going through a price discovery stage. They want to find out, what price do we want to price our Prism tokens for? it's going to be somewhat similar to, let's say, how Astroport did their bootstrapping or boot swapping event. If you've taken part in them, you kind of understand. It depends on how much UST is being deposited into the platform during this period and how much of the token to kind of figure out what the token should be priced at. It depends as to whether it's 2 volts or 1 volt. In this case, Prism is doing a single volted bootstrapping event. And so for 4 days, basically, I think starting January 1st, you can go on to Prism and you deposit UST into Prism. And after 5 days passes, if depending on how much UST was deposited onto their platform, that will kind of determine the price of Prism. The more UST has been deposited, the higher the price of Prism would be. So if you want to get your hands on Prism, this will be the way to do it, is by taking part in the event that begins on January 1st, as far as it stands right now. So yes, after 5 days, you will then be able to go and you will be able to withdraw your Prism tokens. Again, they keep your UST, you get Prism tokens in return. During the course of those 5 days or so, you will be able to kind of see what the price per token would be. Let's say if things were stopped right there on the dime, you will be able to freely deposit and withdraw during the first 4 days, but on the 5th day, you cannot withdraw anymore. I mean, you cannot deposit anymore, but you can withdraw. But as the day goes by, you can withdraw less and less. So after that comes stage 2. With stage 2, they will basically open up the liquidity pool for Prism and UST. So if you want to take part in, essentially at that point, you're earning LP rewards, you can do so. You can take those Prism tokens you got from stage 1, you can bring them here, add some UST to the pile, and all of a sudden have an LP for Prism UST. That's going to be stage 2. After stage 2, it looks like the tentative date is February 4. It might get pushed out, but as it stands, it's February 4. And February 4 is the refracting phase. So the whole thing that we just spent this whole part of the video talking about, that is the refracting phase. As it stands, February 4 seems to be when it comes out. Now, I do think a few days before that, they will open up a test net for the refracting phase, meaning you kind of head into Prism and you'll be able to kind of demo it out and kind of see how it works. So at that point, we will get an idea of what the platform looks like, how the interface works, and maybe just kind of fill in some of the gaps in the knowledge that we have about the platform at this moment. But that's kind of the gist of it. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful, if this really kind of dialed things down for you, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And you could also subscribe for more Terra related content. If you want to get in touch with me, I have a small community on Discord. It's completely free to join, so please do so. If you have any questions, if something I didn't clarify too well, drop them in the comments. I basically answer every single comment, so just make sure to do so. Other than that, thank you for watching and have a great day.